his story is, I don't want to climb the tallest mountain in the world. I just want to be king of the hill of my yard. I want to be able to catch them just good enough to pay the bills. That's a rare story that's told. And there's a lot of men and women that just want to fish enough to pay the bills.
That's right. And there's a lot that do. Hey, y'all, it's the Fishing Business Podcast. I'm your host, Angie Thompson, and this is part 2 of my interview with LeAnn and Gerald Swindle. If you listened last week, you know that I sort of got to the middle of this and thought, there's too much great stuff here to try to cut something out to make this be more timely and more along the lines of what people would like to listen to. So I broke it up into 2 parts, and this is part 2. If you haven't listened to part 1, I recommend you go back and listen to that first. But if not, dive in here with us, y'all. This is really good. I can't wait for you to hear the rest of the interview. So here we go. You know, from the years of working with you, Gerald, and you know, we did. I don't know if people remember the show Bass Tech, but
seriously, they still ask me. Oh, they asked me, hey, where's Bass Tech? When's it coming back? And I'm like, well, it's gone, brother.
Lord have mercy. That was a hard show to do, wasn't it?
Hard. I tell people, I said, you have no idea how many people were behind the scene, the long hours to get that done. I said, that was a lot.
But it was a great show, I thought. And I learned, you know, very quickly during that process that you were an extremely creative guy. And when I couldn't come up with an idea, I could call you. And I still, to this day, sometimes call you and say, I can't help me figure this out. LeAnn, I know you're creative too, and very sensible and practical, maybe a little more sensible and practical than your husband. But so how do you get involved in that process?
I'm not creative. I'll go ahead and tell you that right now. I wish I was. So I'm not. I am more of the sensible one and the problem solver. So, you know, if I've got something I'm stumped on, I'll do my best to try to figure it out. But I can always call on him.
I'll say, baby, I got an idea. I'm going to do something social media. And she'll be like, I'm not following you. I'm not following. I'll say, just trust me on the camera. And now she's like, I'm just going to video. But in her defense, if she thinks it's too far over the top or something, she's like, I don't know if you ought to say that. Go back. But she pretty much now has just said, hey, if you envision it, you do it. That's what you want to do. And we'll go. She kind of trusts that. But I don't know. My mind races sometimes. I have just crazy ideas. I think, I don't know, maybe I need medicine. Sometimes I think way outside, see things different. Some things that really hit home to me is not what people probably think I think about. You know, I had a lady that was really in Detroit last week, and it just really stood out to me. Right in the middle of the Elite Series, you think that your whole focus would be depth finders and tubes and drop shots, and I'm renting a house, and the lady across the road asked me a question, and I said, yes, ma'am. She asked me another question. I said, yes, ma'am. She said, you guys enjoying your visit up here? Yes, ma'am. I said, the weather's beautiful. I said, thank you very much. You have a great day. And she just stopped and she looked me dead in the eye and she goes, where are you from? I said, I'm from Gunnersville, Alabama. She said, your mother and daddy should be proud. She said, somebody raised you. She said, I don't see manners no more. That's gone. And I told LeAnn, I said, it really hit home to me right in the middle of that tournament that you mean to tell me that a thank you or a yes, ma'am is so far removed from society that it stood out to somebody. Something that I wouldn't think twice about. You wouldn't think twice about. When you speak to your elders right now, you still say yes, ma'am, and no, ma'am.
I sure do.
And I had a quick video. I'm like, really? I mean, we gotten to the point in time where saying yes, ma'am, and no, ma'am is noticeable. It should just be part of your life. So I see stuff like that and automatically want to make a video about it, where she may look at that and say, I don't really see it. You know, that it's worth storytelling. But as a society, I think it hits home to where we're at. So I just sit down with my phone and tell a story that, you know, really we should do better, me included, as a society, to be more polite to each other, love more people, hold the doors. I don't think it's going to kill them.
Well, that's another thing that I really appreciate about y'all is you have a big platform and you have a huge megaphone, and you're very responsible with it. And I really appreciate and respect that a lot. And I might have to stop, y'all. I'm about to cry. We've been through a lot together. All of us have, and
We shared time, girl. I think that's what people don't understand. People say the key to business. I said, you know what, LeAnn, and I say business is, Angie. I said, it's either you're building a new relationship or I need to mend an old one that I have destroyed. And I said, well, we quit doing that. We're not good people anymore. And I said, if you, as long as you and I have, or as long as me and somebody at Phoenix had or something, you're eventually going to have a bump in the road. And if you can't keep that bridge mended together, then you're not doing your job. You're not. And I said, it's just relationships. And you experience these ups and downs with people. And you look back and he's like, man, we've had some good times. We've had some bad ones. We've had some rough times. I mean, you and I have been together when things were bad.
Yeah.
With each other before. We've come back and hugged before. I've stayed in your home. You welcomed me in your home when you wasn't even there. I tell people, I said, it's friendships and relationships first. The fishing's just it's just hooked on the back.
Yeah. That's what Jerry used to always say too. Jerry used to always say what he did. People thought he did a fishing show, but he was like, really, I tell stories. And it happens to be the fishing is the backbone that those stories are told on. But really, I'm not doing a fishing show. I'm telling stories. And I know as tournament fishermen, you're definitely fishing and competing and you're a fierce competitor, but you're also a great storyteller. And that's what you do, I think, the really well. And you're one of the few that can weave in life lessons into that storytelling that really can help improve someone's life. I mean, I know it sounds corny, but it's true.
We've seen that, and I've been blessed so many times. And she said, we got into this and just started fishing, and it's grown and grown. And we started doing the PMA bracelets, just a positive mental attitude. Had no idea it would affect somebody's life, good, bad, or indifferent. And all of a sudden, you start getting testimonies from people, and then you realize I need to be more responsible. I do have a responsibility, and there are people listening. Maybe not many, but there's people that listen, and you have an impact on. But those stories is what I remember the most. Mm-hmm. I don't remember exactly what I was fishing with at Lake St. Clair or Lake Champlain, but I can remember that lady in the street talking to me about yes, ma'am, no, ma'am. I can remember the lady who beat a drug addiction who come up and hugged my neck. I can remember the lady at the Classic this year that her husband waited in line for almost 45 minutes to get my autograph. And he said, I wanted my wife to be here, but she got sick, had to go to the truck. I'm like, well, what's wrong with it? He said, well, she has stage 4 breast cancer and she's taking radiation. So she had to go. I'm like, you go get her. Go get her right now. I said, you go get your wife and you bring her to me right now and stand back in this line. I still remember her and her face and her family. I don't remember a lot about who finished second, third in the Classic. I know Hank Cherry won it, but it's just a blur. But for whatever reason, when I get in the car and drive home that day, that's the only thing I see. The weirdest things to me is what I remember the most about in tournaments. It ain't the big one that got away or the one I missed. It's something that I seen along there that taught me a life lesson, either to be more thankful for what you have, to be more responsible, or if you can make somebody smile, make them smile. It don't really matter how I feel at the time, how tired I am. And my wife's the best at that. She said, these people came to see G. They don't come to see pissed off G because he didn't catch him. So when you get in the truck, you can be mad all you want to, but today they brought their children to meet you and you're going to meet them. And those are the lessons that I think that I've learned so much more from, not the great technology of depth finders and how to wind a spinnerbait. It's the very simple things that people walk up to you and shake your hand and say, you've helped my son, and I'm like, I look back and I'm so humbled, Angie, because I still remember Beaver Lake. I still remember throwing a nail apron down and driving up there and winning that tournament. I don't see it any different. And she still gets tickled. She said, as outgoing as you are, when people ask you in the grocery store for an autograph here in Gunville, she said, you still kind of get embarrassed because I don't see that side of what they see.
Yeah. I
just like fishing, and we've been blessed. And now that she shares so much of that with me, she's been out there and she sees people, and
it'll make me cry.
we get letter. I had a sheriff send me a letter the other day, and he said, hey, man, one of my best friends just got killed. Can you send me a bracelet? Absolutely. What a simple thing. Mm-hmm. It makes that big a difference, of course. We want to be a part of it. I tell everybody, I may not ever have 15 Classic trophies behind me. I may not ever have an Elite Series win, but when it's all said and done, when I sit on my porch at that farm and I'll take my boots off, I'm going to tell all y'all I've had a damn good time. And I've enjoyed things that most people would think they would have never thought twice about. the things that I've got the biggest thrills out of has nothing to do with hardware or how much they weigh. It's just about the experience I had along just going there.
I love it. Okay. Well, this is a great place to stop for just a second more, and then we're going to come back. And we haven't even gotten to, a tenth of the things that I wanted to talk to you about, but I knew it was going to be this way. So we'll be right back on the Fishing Business Podcast. Do you know what your personal brand is? Because everyone has a personal brand. You may not be intentional about it yet, but all that you say or do or write or post contributes to how others perceive you. And that, my friends, is your personal brand. If you want to develop your brand and mean the things you want it to mean, I have a workbook that will help you get started, and it's free. You can download my Developing Your Personal Brand workbook at www.fishingbusinessschool.com/brand workbook. We're back on the Fishing Business Podcast with Gerald and LeAnn Swindle. And then this is our last segment. We got to go here in just a minute. But Gerald, how does a newcomer, how does an up and coming aspiring pro, how does he stand out and get the attention of a sponsor?
Be yourself. Whatever you like, whether it's bending your bill or your hat crooked or flat, whatever you are, stick with it. If you don't believe me, look at Bill Dance. He's wore the same hat, and everybody, when you see that tee, you remember. So I tell a young angler, find out where you're comfortable, whatever it is. If you're comfortable in jeans and boots, wear jeans and boots, but wear jeans and boots.
That's right.
When it makes yourself rememberable in who you are, don't never fake. And then people will always recognize whether it's Seth Fighter with a mullet. When you see a mullet, that's Seth Fighter. Prime example.
I always tell people that you need to be more of you. Don't try to be somebody else. Be more you. We need more of you. We need your voice heard. And so a lot of times people will say, well, there's somebody else that's already talked about that, or that's already been done, or whatever. And I'm like, but people hadn't heard you say it. They hadn't heard your version of it. They haven't heard your voice say those things. And I'm going to talk about something that's kind of controversial right here. Years ago, and I can't even remember when it was, but you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. The story got around that Jerry McInnes told all the pro anglers they needed to act like Mike Iaconelli. Do you remember that? And it was at an angler meeting. I can't remember exactly where it was. It seems like we were in Orlando, but I think it might have been the Classic in Orlando. And Jerry we had just started working with bass. We had been with FLW for 5 or 6 years, and we had just started working with bass. And somebody had made an offhanded comment to Jerry, like, well, you've been with all the well-behaved anglers over there on FLW. Now you're going to have to deal with Mike Iaconelli, and good luck with that. It was kind of a joke, but that kind of had meanness behind it, And Jerry addressed the anglers, and I was there. And what I heard him say was, I'm excited about working with Mike Iaconelli. I'm excited about seeing his personality. And you all need to show your personality. Everybody needs to show more of their personality. Don't be scared to be you. Don't try to be Denny. Don't try to be somebody else. Be yourself. That kind of got misconstrued, but that he had told everybody to act like Iaconelli. But I'm here to tell you, with my right hand to God, he did not say that.
He did not. I was there. Now, I did have Ray Scott call me in a hotel room in Old Hickory right when I first started and told me I needed to shave my goatee and wear slacks and look like a young. Now, I did have that happen. And you see, I still have a beard and goatee.
Well, Erwin Jacobs walked down the boat ramp one day and told Rick Clunn he needed to cut his ponytail.
I think what that is just people staying true to who they are.
Yeah.
People think you ought to look like, but you do what you're comfortable at.
That's right.
That's where you're going to be the most successful at. And it's weird how that story got around, but I didn't hear that either. I thought he was saying embrace who you are. If Iaconelli is wild or crazy, then be that. We need personality, but you be who you are.
Right.
I've had anglers before that's like, I don't have nothing to offer. I'm like, yeah, you do. I said, you ever just thought about telling them you just know redneck from Mississippi? You don't know no big words outside of gymnasium, but you can damn sure catch one on a jerkbait. Try that one. Just tell the truth. I can't break. I said, you let Ike be Ike. You let everybody else be, but you got to find out who you are and you got to own it.
That's right. I mean, look, here's Gerald Swindle is a certain kind of guy that has a certain kind of fan and has a certain kind of brand. Mark Davis is another kind of guy, but has just as many fans, just as strong a brand, but he's uniquely Mark Davis. He's not trying to be Gerald Swindle.
I think that's the key. Cliff Pace and I've had this exact conversation. I said, Cliff, if you would open up and tell people more about who you are, he's one of the greatest lure designers I've ever been around in my life. You know, he said, dude, I'm just no redneck from Petal, Mississippi, likes to chew tobacco and make lures. I said, try that on stage next time.
That's right.
Petal, Mississippi, likes to chew tobacco and make lures. Own it, bro.
Yeah.
I said, you person, you just don't want to say nothing. You know, I said, I just think that's what people want to hear. I said, I think it'd blow your mind if you knew how many people were just like Cliff inside. It was like, you know, I can relate to that guy. I don't have a lot of fun. Lures and crankbaits and play around with that. It's a fan base.
Right. I coach a guy that's from a small town in Alabama, and really all he wants to do, he doesn't have any. He's recently married 10 years, has 3 kids, loves to fish and is passionate about it. Doesn't want to be an elite angler, doesn't want to fish MLF. He just wants, really what he wants to do is figure out how to get somebody to help him so he doesn't spend so much money on it. So his wife's not mad at him all the time. But I'm like, you got a story, you know, and he's a fantastic dad. I'm like, your story is, you know, you're a great dad who doesn't have these aspirations of going on the road half the year. That's your story. Get into that. Be more, let that be it, you know?
His story is, I don't want to climb the tallest mountain in the world. I just want to be king of the hill of my yard. I want to be able to catch them just good enough to pay the bills.
Right.
I don't on that side of the mountain. I just want to be. That's a rare story that's told, and there's a lot of men and women that just want to fish enough to pay the bills.
That's right.
And
there's a lot that do. There's a lot that win. You know, that formula works for them. LeAnn, who is your favorite person or brand to follow on social media besides your husband?
I have two. Going to be more of would you call her celebrity? More of a celebrity style. If you're in the outdoor industry, you might know her name, Samantha Morgan. So Levi Morgan is her husband. They are sponsored by Matthews. They do a lot of archery competitions.
Levi's won 12 or 13 or 14 world championships, and he's only like 31. So that means
archery.
He's won them every year since he was like 20. So he's like the most sought after archery shooter in the world. But his wife, Samantha, is funny.
She is so funny. She's so entertaining, and she's real. She's not I don't think there's anything fake about her on social, you know, from her raising her kids to making fun of Levi, trying to get him to dance on TikTok to she's very honest about her beliefs, about the election, she's just very transparent. I really like to watch her. But I love, as he touched on it a little while ago, Jesse Wiggins, Haley. Haley, if y'all don't, Haley is amazing. And like he said, she's not really trying to be. She is so entertaining.
She asked Jesse, could she have her own fan page the other day because she caught a keeper in the Tuesday night Wildcat at Smith Lake. On social, she said, have a fan page, and he's like, baby, it don't work that way. You have to catch some fish.
I've been trying to get her to name it Haley here. Hey, Haley here, you know, but those are the two. I look forward every morning to get on Insta story to see what their Instagrams are gonna say.
Oh,
Haley,
that's great.
Yeah,
I'll check them out. Well, I'll check them out. I'll tell you somebody else who really is entertaining to me, y'all, and it's a very good friend of y'all's, is Kay Donaldson.
Oh,
I don't think she realizes how entertaining she is. But I kind of look forward to saying, what is Kay gonna do today? What kind of shoes is she gonna wear?
I have some new boots on, and she'll wear some clothes. And I'm like, somebody asked me, they said, Kay posts all them pictures. I said, y'all don't understand. She wears that every day. That ain't fake. That's what she wants to wear.
That is her. Yes, Kay. I don't have as many pairs of boots as Kay, but I might rival her as a second.
Y'all talk about somebody who's authentic. That girl is authentic.
Yes.
I like Rut Daniels, which is Carrie Underwood's husband. He has an Instagram page called Rut Daniels,
which is like an alter ego.
Like Marty DeShields had Sugar Brumberlow.
Mm-hmm.
This husband has a character called Rut Daniels, and he's a hunter with a mullet, and it is.
Oh, that's great.
It is fun.
Okay, so my last question, what do y'all, I know y'all spend so much time, windshield time on the road. What do y'all like to listen to? What's your, do you listen to, I know you like music. I hear a lot about your music, but do you listen to podcasts?
I do. I do. I like murder podcasts, like the true stories,
crime.
I like those. I really, really get into those. But
I'm a music guy.
Yeah.
I love music and work. And like, I'm big right now on all the new Corey Smith stuff that he's releasing from his YouTube video channel, just sitting in his studio, to some of the new artists, Tyler Childers and Justin Holmes and Heath Sanders. Some of these guys, people may not have even heard of, but I just love songs that tell a story.
Mm-hmm.
And I do a lot of podcasts. Just don't listen to a lot of that. I just listen to music. That's what we like.
I love Tyler Childers too. And I heard about him through y'all. I didn't know, and I'd never heard of him. And I heard y'all talking about him, and I went and checked him out and just love him.
Need to listen to Corey's new music.
Corey Smith. I don't know.
YouTube.
Corey was a huge smash like 10 years ago. Mm-hmm. You couldn't buy a ticket, Angie. You could not get in to see Corey Smith. He's from Georgia. He's just a single guy, like a single man. He had a band, but he never had a record label. He fought the system. They've done stories about him, like in USA Today did a story. He's a $4 million a year man, never had a record label. Well, it caught up with him. And he tried to and in his last album, the stuff he done in his YouTube, I'm like blown away that this guy sat down and wrote a song and told you just how bad he screwed up. He was so transparent. You listen to the song and he's like, he told you exactly what he done, how he re-recorded his album. It sucked. It was a crap show. He lost all his core base. He's having to start over. And the name of the song was Just Leave Well Enough Alone. And I'm like, this is an artist who's been up and down and up and down. And it even talks about Nashville told him, you don't have big enough biceps. You don't fill your jeans out. You don't have the pretty boy smile. And he's like, I fought it. He said, I tried to prove him wrong. So I like that style of music. So Corey Smith is one guy that I like, just really like sitting. And he writes some songs that are really would make you think. There's one that I think you would absolutely love on there called Highway 441. And you just have to sit and listen to it. So I don't know. I like all that new stuff.
I'm writing that down. I'll go check him out, and I'll put him in the show notes so other people can find him too. I'll put all these people that we've talked about in the show notes so you can find them, including Miss Kay Donaldson, because people need to know more about Miss Kay. But I thought at the very beginning of the show, I asked you what was something that people didn't know about you, and I thought maybe one might be, LeAnn might say it, and maybe I'm making it up, but that I think you could actually be a country music star, G.
We like to sing in the truck with the radio.
We sing together because neither one of us can really sing that good.
I fished with Riley Green the other day, a few months ago, and Riley's ended up being kind of a friend of mine through country music. He just won the CMA New Artist of the Year or something, and of course, he comes to the house, and LeAnn cooks dinner for him, and he gets ready to leave, and Angie, she looks at me, she goes, God, he is easy on the eyes. I tell him when he stand by him all the time, I said, son, I'm you. You just don't know it yet. But it's amazing to see some of those guys, because I can remember him playing in clubs in Auburn. Yeah. He's from Jacksonville State. He was a quarterback at Jacksonville. He played all over Auburn. He played at Guntersville. He's played at somewhere on the lake at Guntersville, Floribama. He's been all up and down the coastline. And then to see him just take off, you're like, people make it. I mean, I see it in the fishing industry, but when you know somebody before they get famous in country and they blow up, you're like, dude, that's because I know what he does. I know how hard he worked at it, how he writes his own music. Right. I think you would enjoy his music. If you don't listen to a lot of Riley Green, I think you would get lost in it, the way he writes. Because he's 30, but writes like he's 60.
I'll listen to him too.
A lot of meaning, a lot about this his raising, and I think that's a really good story. He is a modern day. Him and Tyler Childers, Sturgill Simpson, some of them guys, they are kind of the new modern day Willie Nelson. They kind of do what they want.
Yeah, I love that y'all appreciate that, because I think we all try to find. I think the happiest people are the ones that try to find deeper meaning in things. I don't know why I'm so emotional, y'all, but there might be people that just go out there and they're fierce competitors, and they don't ever think about a deeper meaning in anything. But I can tell, because of how you appreciate things like country music that, it's the stories that are important, and it's the story. That's what you're drawn to. That's what you remember. And it's the same for me in sports. It's the stories in sports that I'm drawn to.
It's it. That's the person that created the story. And I made her listen to a song the other day, and it's by Heath Sanders, and the opening line is Ozark Gravel, and Old Warm Dirt, Ozark Gravel and Old Warm Dirt, and a Zebco. And I said, honey, that's what my grandpa, we would ride down gravel roads in Mississippi, and I could hear the gravel still to this day pop under the tires with the windows down. Had the red worms, and we had the Zebcos, but that was life. That was as big as it got. So when I hear somebody, a new part of an artist, write that down, and I'm like, as soon as I heard it, we were painting painting the porch, and as soon as I played it, I'm like, play that again. I said, play it again. I said, that's my granddaddy. I remember the gravel. I remember the smells. So to me, to hear those words, I think when certain people hear them, it takes you back to where a very refreshing piece of where you say, you know what, and it allows me to sit and we'll talk about my childhood, how my granddaddy sat on a bucket. And there was a line in that song that said, even if he missed his cork going under, he didn't care. He was working with me. And I said, my granddad was the same way. He would throw his out, and it didn't matter how many times his cork went under, he worked with me. That to me, he just painted my life as a 9 and 10-year-old kid in Mississippi. And I said, to me, that song is etched. Riley Green writes a song, I Wish Grandpa Was Never Died. It doesn't get any more magical than that.
Yeah.
I wish old dogs never got old and gray.
Yeah.
Grandpa's never died. And you think about that. What did grandpas mean to everybody? Which is sad to me now, because I see grandpas that may not have that effect on children now. They're not even involved. So like as her and I get toward, we're in the fourth quarter of my career, I look forward to the day when my grandchildren are old enough to sit in the deer blind with me and hunt. And she sends me pictures of the day where they're feeding the deer on the ground. And I'm like, that's life. It didn't get any than the experience they did with grandmother feeding the deer, because that's what they're going to remember. They're not going to remember all the Xbox games. They don't remember how many games they played on an iPad. They remember that Yaya and them cooked biscuits. And I think sometimes as parents and grandparents, we forget that the smallest of things make the biggest impact on children. It also can do it in adults, but we get caught in the hustle and bustle, and I'm guilty of it. Like I get caught in that hustle and bustle, and I'm going, and then all of a sudden it takes that slap in the face where I'm like, whoa, this is very powerful here. We need it.
You got to stop and notice those times too. And, that's the thing I appreciate the most about this industry that we're all part of. If you're involved in fishing, you probably have some kind of rural roots somewhere. You may not have grown up in a rural area, but somebody did, or you spent a lot of time there, or you've got some kind of, because you're on a lake. If you love fishing, you're out on the water. And, there's something about those people that have those rural roots that are different from everybody else, and they are real, and those things that make you connect with that person is what makes this sport special in my mind. Like I said, maybe I'm just being corny, but I'll never forget. Almost every year when I would go to the Classic, I would have a moment in the arena where I would get really emotional, because I'd be like, these people that are here that are so excited. They are the guys I grew up with in Coffee County, Alabama. They are my cousins in Baldwin County. And this is their lifestyle. This is a validation of their lifestyle. This is a public thing that says, look how cool this is, the way we live. And it made me feel really emotional to feel like I was part of that, and that I was somehow helping that and making that better. I'm not kidding you. I would have a little, come apart at the Classic almost every year.
Simplest of things is all I was saying, that a fish brings the world together, from gas stations to every environment, from the biggest city to the smallest gas station in Coffee County. A man can have an aluminum boat with 4 cane poles out the back, and I can pull up with a brand new Phoenix, but we have something in common. We both got the thrill of catching a fish, and we can talk and have a mutual respect for each other, that we love fishing. And that's the magic I see in bass fishing. Whether you're 6 years old, I go fishing yesterday, and some kids slide in the gas station. Everybody goes, man, we followed you on TikTok. We're down here fishing. Can we get a picture? Absolutely. Fishing brings the world together.
It does. You're right. You're totally right. Y'all, thank you so much I know you're busy. I understand how busy you are. And I can't tell you how much I appreciate you taking this time out to spend with me. And it means a lot to me. It really does. I want you to know it really does mean a lot to me. I appreciate it a lot.
No problem. Thanks for having us on.
We appreciate, you asking us both. I mean, I was included, so.
Well, I love you to death. I love both of y'all to death. And LeAnn, I respect the crap out of you. I mean, you're just as important a part of Gerald's success as he is.
She's more important.
All right.
Maybe I'll get a raise.
All right. Love y'all. See you soon. Well, like I said, I'm sorry for the technical problems there, but I think you probably get the gist of everything. And I'm sorry for getting so emotional. I just love the Swindles, and we've got so much history together. I get all choked up talking about it sometimes. That was just love leaking out of my eyes, y'all. Okay, here's my 3 key takeaways from this conversation. Number 1, try to find someone in your life who can help you manage the business side of fishing. As you start achieving more and more success, you'll need help keeping the train on the rails. Having someone to help you with keeping up with your social media calendar, your real life calendar, your speaking engagements, and your sponsor commitments will help you immensely. You may not need it at this moment, but you will one day because you are going to be successful. Number 2, be consistent, but keep them guessing. What this means is post a lot, be consistent about when you post and when you share, but always be creative and come up with new things to talk about and to share. Number 3, don't be afraid to be honest about who you are. We talk about this all the time, but Gerald is the personification of this concept. He is uniquely Gerald, and you are uniquely you. He doesn't try to be anything else other than an old country boy from Alabama. Of course, that's not who you need to be if it's not you, but you have a story too. Tell your story. Your version of life needs to be heard. And if you're not sure how to tell your story, I can help you get started with figuring that out. I have a free workbook called Developing Your Personal Brand that you can download at fishingbusinessschool.com/brand workbook. I've got a link to it down in the show notes here. This free workbook will help you get started on creating your own brand that will sort of guide you to what your story actually is. Okay, that's it for me this week, y'all. Please be sure to rate and review the podcast on YouTube or your favorite podcast platform. And I'll dance at your wedding if you leave a nice comment. I absolutely love hearing from you. In fact, you can also email me at Angie@fishingbusinessschool.com. Angie@fishingbusinessschool.com. And like I say every week, if you like this kind of content and find value in it, I need your help to keep it going. You can help by subscribing and reviewing the content so the algorithms know that you find it valuable. You can also share my social media posts, which would be helpful too. I'm going to close things out like I always do, and like Jerry McInnes always closed out his TV shows by saying, this is dedicated to Dad. He always had time to take me fishing. See you next time, y'all.